Hey guys, and welcome back. Today, I've got a good one for you. I think you're really going to enjoy this one. What am I going to do? I'm going to go back through all the equipment that I have used and played with since I started this channel. We're going to look at, does it still work? Is it any good? Have I got any problems with it? Any issues? We're going to go through everything that I have done. It's a lot of stuff. I'm going to go through this quite quickly. Now, what I am going to do, though, I'm going to put a link down below to every piece that I basically have that I've done reviews and stuff on, so you can go through and look at it in a finer detail. Here, I'm just going to let you know, does it work, doesn't it work, and the problems. So without further ado, the first thing, the Sony ZV-1, the vlogging camera. I've got the little controller down here. And I think the Sony ZV-1 performs well. How do I know that? You're looking at the footage right now from the Sony ZV-1. I pretty much film all these videos in here on the Sony ZV-1. So the Sony ZV-1, I have no problem with it other than it eats batteries. That has not changed. This thing is a battery eater, and I normally run with about 4 batteries with me. So Sony ZV-1, I give 2 thumbs up to. I am quite impressed with it. It works well. Let's get into my next little one, and that is the, can you guess? It's the DJI Osmo Pocket. Now this is the first generation one, and it works really well. I haven't had a lot of issues with it. The one area that I have had is I had it on a pole trying to do a drone shot, and the extension pole I had actually broke. The the Osmo Pocket fell and landed directly on its head, and it bent the arm here. Now, it wouldn't do anything, but when I came back home, I took some pliers and rebent the gimbal arm, and it worked perfectly. But I've had no issues with this. I still love this little camera. It's so easy to travel with. The wide-angled lens that goes on to this, I have had a couple of issues. I've put it on, done a time-lapse, come back, watch the footage and go, what? It looks like it's all fogged and blurry. Nothing is clear. You have to make sure that the wide-angled lens sits on the lens properly. If not, your focus is going to be off. And honestly, on that little screen, you're not really going to notice it. But when you see the footage back, you will. Osmo Pocket works brilliantly. Wide-angled lens works well. Just make sure that it's seated well. The next thing, camera-wise, is this one here. It's an older piece. It is the Nikon D800. And it's a Nikon. It just keeps going. I don't even know how many shutter clicks on this. But the quality of the images coming out of the Nikon D800 is still phenomenal. So that's why I haven't replaced it, because a lot of people say, well, why are you using that old camera? You should get a new mirrorless. Why? This still works brilliantly. The files are huge and beautiful. The only issue that I have now from this camera is the port on the side here with the cable. It seems like because of repeated putting the cable in, the connections got weak. So sometimes I have to jiggle it to get it to work. A lot of times I have to pull the card out because it's into the side here and I need to read the card. That becomes an issue. That is the problem that I face there. Other than that, Nikon D800, old camera, works brilliantly. Just a bit of a connection problem from a million times in and out with the cable. So that's basically it for the cameras. Let me just get this out of the way. And poof, like magic, onto our next little topic here of equipment that I have shown you or reviewed. Here is the DJI D4 Mini. It works really well. I still really like this microphone, and I use it a lot. I use it a lot when I'm doing voiceovers and stuff. The quality is really good with it, and I've taken it out and about and with the wind muff and everything. It works brilliantly. I've had no issues whatsoever with this microphone, and I'm so happy that it comes with a bunch of different cables so you can connect to different things. DJI D4 Mini, no problem. Old little Sony lav style microphone here. So I say all the links will be down below. It works really well, but in honesty, I do not use it anymore, and I'll show you the one that I've kind of replaced it with. It does work well, and I've had no issues with it. There's been no problem with it. The Boya microphone here, and it's, as you can see, it's a lot smaller here, and you've probably seen it in quite a few of my little videos. It has a little battery capsule here, because it'll work with your smartphone, or it'll work with your cameras and everything else. And you just simply plug it in, and there's a switch on the side here which allows you to switch back and forth between your smartphone and your camera. That being said, that's one of the problems I have with this. sometimes I forget to switch it to the camera. So there I've done this beautiful audio work to go with my video, and I come back and it's just a little whisper. Why? Because this was not working, because I didn't turn the switch from smartphone into camera. So be aware of that. It's not a flaw with this at all, but it's a problem that I run into. The cable, it's a love-hate relationship. I think I've said that in the past. The cable is absolutely huge. I took some little Velcro around here to spin it to tighten it down. But yeah, the cable on it, as I say, love-hate relationship. Problem-wise though, works flawlessly. I don't have a problem. Works well. You've seen it in a lot of videos. Now, another microphone that I've used a lot and I've shown you, and it was cheap, and it was like my very first microphone, really. And you know what's funny? It's right here. It's the Takstar microphone. I'm still using it. It still sounds good in my opinion. I can't justify spending $300, $400, $500 or more on a microphone. I find the audio sounds quite good, especially at that price point. I have improved my audio from all of this, and I use an audio recorder. That's what's running right now, recording the audio for this that I will sync and post later, and it's the Zoom H1N. Works brilliantly. So that's all the audio equipment that I've shown you on the channel, and any problems with it. Now our next one, camera lenses. Boom. As you notice, Nikon D800. What's on it? The Tamron 90mm lens. This thing pretty much lives on my camera. I have no problems with it whatsoever. The other lenses that I've shown you on the channel is the Nikon 50mm. Absolutely love it. Works brilliantly. The other one is the Nikon 70x200. It's the second generation. I think there's a third, maybe even a fourth now. I don't know. But the one I have, the one I reviewed, the one I play with, it works brilliantly. I have no issues with it. Those are the three lenses that are my go-to and that I've shown you on here. Just to let you know, no problems whatsoever. Let's get into the next one, and I think you're gonna like this one. Here we go, gimbals. Yep, see, I knew you'd like this one. Here is the gimbals that I have shown you on the channel and that I've been playing with the entire time. Where do we begin? Let's go back to the older version, and this is a Zunion Smooth 4. Works brilliantly. It was the first gimbal. I bought this and was using it before I even started this channel. It's a great gimbal. It works fantastic. I have had no problems with it. The one issue that I have is the size. It's quite big, it's quite bulky. But for technical problems, I haven't had any problems with it. Everything works brilliantly. That being said, I don't really use it much anymore at all. Why? I'll show you as we go along. So let's move the Zune Smooth 4 out of the way. The next one here is the Hoem Mobile Plus. This is the updated version. Hoem sent this to me. No, I am not sponsored by them. It works great. It's a really, really good gimbal. I love all the features with it. It's fairly large. That gets to be a problem, but that is my problem with the gimbal, not the gimbal. Have I had any issues with the gimbal? No, it works perfectly. Do I use it a lot? Not a lot. Not much more than the Zune, really. And I'll get to the why. Hang in there. Next, we have the little Hoem iSteady V2. This, I absolutely fell in love when I started to use it. Why? Because this thing packs down perfectly. Small, and with the AI tracking additional on the top, oh, that's a feature I really love. Now, have I had any issues with it? The odd time this doesn't recognize symbols, and I have done a video in the past. I'll put a link to it down below to show you the proper way of doing the hand signals so it's more accurate. Still not 100% perfect, but it works good. Now, problems? I've had no problems, no issues. But design, I have had a problem with the little Joy-Con here. It has popped off. It has only done it once, and funny enough, it was the last time that I took it out. I just simply clipped it back on. Everything works fine, but that's the only issue I've had with the gimbal, is that piece popped off. How, why, don't know. Anyways, let's get that one out of the way. I still use this quite frequently. Let's get on to, I'm going to be biased here. I absolutely love this gimbal. This is the new Hoem M6, and I am such a fan of this gimbal. If I was going to ding it, it would be for size again. I like the smaller compact just for traveling, but functionality and usability, this thing is phenomenal. I absolutely love the M6. I've had no issues whatsoever. Everything works perfectly, and I've had no glitches or problems. One thing in common with all of them, no matter the brand, the make, or the model. The problem is not so much with the gimbal, the app. The apps are forever changing. And if you go through my channel, you'll see where I've continually done updates on the Hoem. They are forever changing their app, adding new features and all the bells and whistles with it. Phenomenal. Unfortunately, sometimes things disappear, sometimes things get broken. It's inherent with the app for all the gimbals that I've had the chance to play with, that the app tends to be the issue, not the gimbal. Unfortunately, you just have to bear with it. They tend to do an update, straighten things out, and away you go. But as I say, on the whole, my experience with all of these, no problems. The only problem was with the V2, and that was the little Joy-Con piece coming off. So that is it for the world of gimbals. But I knew you'd like this one. There we go, all cleared off. Get on to the next topic. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is lighting. The first one, nice and bright, is the newer rollable 512. And I've shown even a little modification that I did on it so you can add like a grid box. But hang on, because the next light I'm going to turn on is also by Neewer, and it's the 1320. So hang on while I turn this on and you'll see the diff. Ta-da! Now I'm lit a whole lot better. So I've got the Neewer 512 and the Neewer 1320 up here. As I say, links down below. Have I had any issues with them? No, I have not. I've had absolutely no issues with either of the lights. They work brilliantly. The Neewer here has a little remote control. Still works great. Changed the battery a couple of times, but the battery life on it, I think it just takes like a AAA, just a small battery, but the lights work great. I've shown them in so many videos, and I've had zero issues with them. Behind me, I was using Philips Hue lights, and I was having an issue. I was getting this constant flickering, driving me nuts. Couldn't get rid of it. How do I solve it? I went to Weelight. This is the Weelight K21. That's the big light back here. That's why I'm just showing you the box, because I'm actually using it back there. No problem. Works with the app. Works brilliantly. Not an issue. This one here is the Weelight SO3. It's just a small little light. You can see there, we turn this on and works great. No problem. Bright. That's what this light back here is the other one of these. Sync to the app. I've got my little YouTube set up and no more flicker. So no problems with the Weelights. The app works great and the lights work great. I've got no problem at all. Now, other lights that I have shown you, or talked about at least, my Alien B800s from Paul Buff, absolutely love them. Had them for years. They're about a mid-level studio flash. I've had absolutely no issue. Gone through a few modeling lights here and there, but other than that, they work great. No color shift. They still work like the day I bought them, so no problem whatsoever. Now, one light that I do have a problem with, and it has been an issue, and that is the Surrey light. Check this out. I've got them both set at identical power and Kelvin, but there's a difference in brightness. Now, there is a difference in the Kelvin as well, the color balance. If you notice the little stickers I had on the back, that basically is how I had to set it so I can get them to balance right, because there's a color shift on the one and a definite decrease in power on the one. I don't know what's going on with it. Now, Surrey sent me these lights, so I haven't dealt with the issue as to why that one is faulty. But I wanted you aware that through using them, and I use them a lot, the one light is faulty and is not acting or working as it is intended to do. You can see it side by side with the other one. So that light has been an issue. Some of you may remember it because it was one of the earlier ones. Is this little tank here, and it's the CN160. It works well. But honestly, I don't use it anymore because I had these other small lights, but it still works. Now, the one issue that I had with it, and I've mentioned this, is it won't work with the AA's like they say it will. I don't know why. I've never got mine to work with it, but they do have the Neewer batteries, because this is made by Neewer. They do have rechargeable batteries that go in this. And if I take it and I slide this in, look at that. And you've got your little dial on the side so you can adjust your power and stuff. I've had no issues with it using these batteries. The batteries hold a reasonable charge, as I say, but the light does not work with the AA's like they say it does. I don't know why. Maybe there's a broken wire. I don't know. I beat my head against a wall. But with this, works great. So, that is basically the world of lighting. Let me get this one out of the way. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about just quickly is the batteries. This one I just showed you. I was using it with the CN160. They work fine. They hold a reasonable charge. I've had no problem with it. These ones here are the Numoa batteries. I don't know if you can see that there. They're for the Sony ZV-1. And recording this, I've already chewed through a battery, and that's what this one was, so I've already had to replace it. The Sony battery is only just slightly better than the Numoa. They work fine. I've had absolutely no issues with them whatsoever. They charge reasonably quick. They last just, like I say, about the same as the Sony. Okay, here we go. This is what I call the miscellaneous category. What do we have here? We have smart arms, smart clamps. They're metal. I've had no problems with any of my brackets or any of the clips or anything that I've shown you. Everything works just fine. So no problem whatsoever. We'll jump to this one here. This is the Euriter. These are the screen protectors for the Sony ZV-1. I still have the same screen protector on that I put on when I unboxed this and put it on. I've had no problem whatsoever. Somebody just did comment on this saying they broke theirs and they were wondering how to replace it. And it should be simply a matter of cleaning off the old one and applying a new one. But I've had no problem whatsoever. People have asked, does it stop you from closing the back down properly? I've had no problem with that either. So these, 2 thumbs up, they work brilliantly, no issues whatsoever. These newer bracket here to hold your smartphone, well, I've had no issues. And I even went out and I bought a second one because I was tired of hunting for it. So this way I can leave it on certain pieces of equipment and I'm not always chopping and changing. So these brackets, no problems. They work just fine as intended. So now we have our little turntable, if you remember that one. I did have issues with this and I don't know why, but it seems to have resolved itself. It wouldn't work with the batteries. I had to plug it in USB. That would be the only way it works. But now, let me just turn this on. Let me set that there. You can see it's rotating it. So it now is working on battery. I don't know. Maybe it bumped it and the wire connected. I don't know. But it now works on battery. And it still works by plugging in. It works. I've had no problem with it. It hasn't got noisier. It does what it intended. It did exactly what it did during the video that I did it. The only difference now is the battery works. Again, don't know why. Don't know how. Okay, let's get on to this one here. This is a Ugreen. It's a card reader. It's a multiple card reader. Now, it works brilliantly. I've had a problem with it though. That's why I have 2 of them. And they both have done the same problem. Now, my Nikon D800, I use compact flash. If you're not aware of that, that is a great big memory card. That's why there's a great big slot in the front of this. I use it a lot, so wear and tear, it does become an issue, but both have done the exact same thing. I think there's a little too much play in the opening, and that, when you go to put the card in, you got a ton of pins that have to go into the card. And because I think there's a bit of play, it can potentially misalign and you bend the pin. I have the exact same pins bent on both. How curious is that? So they work well. Now, granted, I had it for a year before I replaced it, but the replacement only lasted about 6 months. The rest of it works and it'll read still from the other cards. I just can't use it for the compact flash anymore. So that is a problem with it. I don't know if anybody else has had that issue, and I try to be careful putting the card in and out. But as I say, there's 2 pins bent in the exact same position. When I did it the first time, I didn't realize that I'd bent the pin. I thought the whole thing was just faulty, so I just bought a new one. I don't think I showed you these in the past, but that is an issue. Now, backup drives and things that I've shown you, haven't had any issue. Everything is working fine. So anyways, that's it. That's all the equipment that I think I have shown you in the past. If I've missed anything and you're curious about it, leave me a comment down below and I'll get back to you on it. But that's it. That's everything that I've shown you, and the good, the bad, the ugly, and on the whole, I think we're like about a 98% no problem. Only a few issues with a few of the products. So there we go. So that's it for this one. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you're aware when I post new videos. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help me out. So until the next time.